Or is there actually thought and skill that you put into it, right? And when I'd play to my weaknesses. I always work on the things during those games that I was weak at. Left hand, pull-up jump shot, post game, right? So I have a strategy.
You have to decide if you are willing to do the things to put you in that category. Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day.
Every morning, right? Now, it's not the walking that's actually going to make that person successful. Now, it will add to your success because getting up and walking, fresh air and exercise is going to support you in losing weight. But we all know that there's far more factors to consider.
Success doesn't hold on to many people. Success doesn't connect with everybody because everybody doesn't have the ability to connect to success. When nobody's looking, when nobody's watching, when nobody understands the measure of passion that you carry can, you keep going, don't stop, you're right there. You have to shift from being externally focused to internally focused. Do not yield to distractions.
Yeah.
What was really your work ethic like, and for how long did you stay disciplined?
I mean, every day. I mean, since 20 years. It was an everyday process and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability. My vertical was a 40, wasn't a 46 or 45. My hands are big, but they're not massive, right? So you got to figure out ways to strengthen them so your hands are strong enough to be able to palm a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast, right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more.
That's a third of your life. It ain't even 24 hours in a day. You cannot be sleep 8 hours a day. You can't live in LA and wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. The stock market been open 2 hours. They already making decisions about your life and your ass was asleep. He who loves to sleep and the folding of hands, poverty will set upon you like a thief in the night. I'm gonna ask you one question, I'm gonna go. How many of you in here know somebody who loves to sleep? Who knows somebody that loves to sleep? Let me ask you something. Ain't they poor?
It's hard. It's not easy. It's hard changing your life. It was hard when just over 3 years ago in the Penobscot building in Detroit, Michigan.
And but I enjoyed it though. So like from the time I can remember when I started watching the game, I studied the game and it just never changed.
Well, what does losing feel like to you?
It's exciting because it means you have different ways to get better. There's certain things that you can figure out that you can take advantage of, right? Certain weaknesses that were exposed that you need to shore up. But the hardest thing is to face that stuff.
You got to look at the reality of the situation. Like for me, it's not, you kind of got to get over yourself, right? And then after that, it's okay, well, why did those air balls happen? Got it. I didn't have the legs. So I look at it with rationale. Say, okay, well, the reason why I shot air balls is because my legs aren't there. I go, well, next year they'll be there, right? I got to get stronger.
You have to do the hard stuff and watch that game and study that game to not make those mistakes over and over again.
Where I was operating my business and I fell on some hard times and I was sleeping in my office. It was hard coming into the lobby and the security said, "Excuse me, Mr. Brown, can we see you for a moment?" And I said, "Yes." And I walked up to the counter and he gave me an envelope and he said, "Would you mind reading it here?" And I opened the envelope and the envelope was from management that said, "This is an office tower. It's not a hotel. Please do not sleep in your office." And I said, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "I just work long hours in creating my business. I'm an entrepreneur. And right now things are bad for me. But they're not going to be this way always. And I just asked for the opportunity to continue to operate like I'm doing. I'm not trying to make this my home." And it was hard coming through the lobby. And sometimes they would laugh. There's a guy talking about becoming successful. And look at it.
Focus on you. Why are you here? What is your destiny? One of the greatest tragedies in life is to live and not know why you're living. If you're walking on this earth today, prepare yourself for many battles. Ahead, you're not going to win every battle because every battle is not meant to be. Sometimes you're going to need to humble yourself. What do you believe about you?
But what it will do is create the virtue of discipline, commitment. The fact that that small win associated with getting up every single morning is under your belt, you're going to feel the courage, the confidence, and you will have the ability to begin adding other things to your ability to grow stronger. So now that you know, it's been 60 days, 90 days, and it's like you got that pattern down pat. You get up every morning, you just walk, that's it. You don't think about it, it's become a habit. You now can use that tool of creating habits and instilling discipline with the next one. Basically what you're doing, and I've mentioned this in videos before, is you're getting comfortable with discomfort.
You don't even have time to look to see what else is out there because you all have all of these people surrounding you that's not enabling you to grow.
Some of you tonight, you've experienced someone failing. Maybe your mom was never there. Maybe it was a boyfriend who promised you the world but took off. Before you know it, what happens is these failures are holding us back from getting into our future. And these bad relationships are blinding us from all of the good potential relationships.
I want to begin the process of deserving. What would that be? What process should I begin engaging in to deserve good health, to deserve a good relationship? What must I do to begin?
There's enough people that are telling us we can't do it.
How do you talk to you about you? Take a moment to think about what you've been saying to yourself about yourself. The good news is that your mind will believe whatever you tell it. So make sure that you are speaking your desires and not your fears. You get to choose how your mind serves. Sometimes you gotta delete the app, sometimes you have to walk away. Sometimes you have to fall back into the dark room and focus on it.
You've got to get comfortable in getting uncomfortable. And the minute that discomfort begins to rule you, you are no longer in control. Now the circumstances are. So put yourself purposefully in uncomfortable situations. There's no virtues developed in a vacuum. Essentially, no virtue is developed in the absence of the practice, the expression. You've got to do the thing to have the power. Otherwise, you would have reached it in 10 years. You're not a goal person. And to be quite frank, it's difficult for even myself at times. If I don't have something nipping at my ass, no, why go after something? Okay? You've got to really brainwash yourself to do that. Let's create a situation where you sink or swim. You'll learn how to swim. You've got to place yourself in the midst of a storm, and it's got to be a self-created storm. Otherwise, most people have to wait until the shit comes crumbling down before they take action in life. I'm inviting you to create a shit storm for yourself so that you will be motivated.
That we're not good enough. Why do we want to tell ourselves that? We know for a fact that thoughts influence actions. We need to get our own self-affirmations. There need to be quiet moments in your bedroom, quiet moments when you're brushing your teeth, that we need to reaffirm, I am the captain of my ship and the master of my...
It is your values. It is your... It is not your strength. It is not your talent. It is not how you fight. It is not how you draw. It is not your intellectualism. It is your values. So that when you're backed up against the wall and you have to make a decision, true leadership is how you make decisions in the moment. What do you care the most about? Being seen or being connected?
This is a verse you must remember all your life. It says, man's days are determined. That means you don't decide how long you live. Your life is on a timer.